Why the US won't give India nuclear submarines? The US has cited its stringent domestic laws to consistently refuse to discuss the issue over the past 15 years. On September 16, Indian Navy officials read the text of AUKUS, a US UK Australian military alliance, with a sense of dismay. The high point of AUKUS is that both the US and UK will equip Australia to design and build up to 8 nuclear powered attack submarines to counter the rising threat of China in the Indo Pacific. China's belligerence is a common concern for several countries in the region, especially the Quad countries of US, Australia, Japan, and India, who revived their grouping last year. Indian Navy chiefs and naval veterans have raised the prospects of Indo US collaboration on nuclear reactor propulsion technology only to have been politely rebuffed by the US counterparts. During a track 2 dialogue held in Australia 2 years ago, the US side was empathetic in its refusal, recalls an Indian representative who was part of the event. The US Congress would never contemplate discussing anything to do with the transfer of nuclear propulsion, they were told. This request might have sounded out of the place considering that India already operates nuclear submarines, becomes the world's sixth country to do so when it commissioned the INS Arihant in 2016. The Arihant, however, is a SSB, a nuclear powered ballistic missile submarine, a slow moving bomber, and a stealthy launch platform for nuclear weapons. The Arihant and three more SSBM under construction are part of the Strategic Forces Command. What the Navy wants are SSNs, which can perform a series of tactical missions from escorting SSBMs to accompanying its carrier battle groups and hunting enemy warships. Since the mid 1980s, the Indian Navy has relied upon the Soviet Union and later Russia to lease of SSNs in an arrangement without precedent anywhere else in the world. It needs SSNs to prowl the maritime choke points into the Indian Ocean through which the Chinese PLA Navy will send warships towards India and also project power near Chinese waters. With its growing proximity to the US over the past 2 decades and dismayed by what was on offer, second-hand US warships, helicopters, and aircraft carriers, Indian officials began discussing the possibilities of buying or leasing US SSNs. Let the US show its commitment to a stable defense relationship by leasing a few Los Angeles class SSNs, and Admiral told Indian Today. The US, with over 70 operational nuclear submarines, has more nuclear submarines than Russia, France, and UK put together. US nuclear submarines use the most sophisticated nuclear reactors. The newest Virginia class SSN, for instance, have reactors that use bomb grade uranium. They are designed to operate 33 years without refueling. The US has consistently refused to discuss any possibility of parting with know how on naval nuclear reactors. This stance has been held through even during and after the passage of the Indo US Civil Nuclear Cooperation Agreement on 2008 that tactically recognized India's nuclear weapon status. SSNs are regarded as the most technologically complex military platforms ever built. They are capable of tremendous underwater speed and, unlike conventional diesel electric submarines, don't need to surface to recharge their batteries. The submerged endurance is limited only by the crew's endurance or food supplies. They can carry twice the weapon loads of conventional submarines and move twice as fast. The key is an SSN is its high performance nuclear reactor. Reason they are regarded as the crown jewel of nuclear technology. Only 5 permanent members of the UN Security Nation possesses this technology. India is looking to design and build a fleet of 6 Project 76 indigenous SSNs fitted with new nuclear reactor. Naval officials believe foreign assistance for this project might be needed either from traditional partner Russia or from France. In 2017, Indian Navy Chief Admiral Sunil Lanba visited a French shipyard for a closer look at its newest Barracuda class SSNs. Meanwhile, it continued sending out feelers to the US for nuclear reactor propulsion technology for submarines and surface ships. You are asking us for the kind of technology we don't give to even our closest allies, the British. A US defense attaché told Indian some years ago. One US admiral told his US counterpart that the issue of naval reactor propulsion would have to be discussed at the political level. Their stance reminds naval veterans of the mid 1960s when snubbed by the US and UK, India turned to the former Soviet Union for acquiring submarines. The Soviets provided India 8 Foxtrot class conventional submarines, and top officials spoke of eventually providing a fleet of nuclear powered submarines. In 1987, the Soviet Union provided K 43, the world's first true SSGN cruise missile firing submarine on lease. The submarine, which had entered Soviet service in 1967, could fire its anti ship missile from underwater. The Chakra was returned in 1989, just before the break of the Soviet Union. A decade long gap in India's nuclear capability continued until the mid 1990s, when the Navy Chief Admiral Vishnu Vagat revived the lease of Akula class SSNs from the Russian Federation. The arrangement has continued till date. The Chakra 2 was returned to Russia this year and will be replaced by Chakra 3, currently being refitted by at a Russian shipyard for induction by 2026. India's quest for modern naval nuclear reactors meanwhile continues. When India approached France for nuclear submarine technology in 2017, it found Paris reluctant. In 2021, furious at being cut out of the submarine deal with Australia, Paris has recalled its ambassador from Canberra and Washington. It is now entirely possible that India might find in France another partner willing to share nuclear submarine technology. Thank you.